phone.
All right. As Nickelback said, we'll see you at the show.
They said that?
Yeah, it's the name of one of their songs.
Oh, okay. I believe you.
Yeah, just random thought. Hey everybody, Happy New Year, and welcome to the first 2026 episode of On a Couch Talking Sports. As always, I'm Robbie. Kyle's here. Kyle, Happy New Year to you, buddy.
Happy New Year. We did it.
We made it.
Wow.
Another year. How's your 2026 going so far? I know it's only 2 days into it, but still, how's it going?
I mean, I guess it's, as good as the first 2 days can go.
Yeah?
We're
here.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And we're very happy to be back with new episodes in 2026. And as always, happy to our two sponsors, Zyman Organizing and Wes Woodson, once again for sponsoring us as we enter this new year. So thank you very much to those guys. Listen, if you have followed the show for a while, you know that we have a beginning of the year tradition every year for the first episode of a new year. And that is, as Kyle and I, we like to make some predictions, resolutions, different things like that for the year ahead. We try to make them for this show sports related. And so tonight, we're going to continue that tradition and do our three predictions, resolutions, whatever you want to call them, for the year 2026. Last year I went 1 and 2 in my predictions, and Kyle actually went 2 and 1 in his resolutions. So,
yay.
We'll see what this year brings, but you ready to make some predictions here?
Let's do this.
All right, I guess I'll go first if that's okay with you.
Sure.
And my three are going to be predictions for sort of various levels of sport. I think I've got one high school related prediction, one college related prediction, and one professional related prediction. So, my first prediction, I guess I'll sort of go in order, so high school, college, pro. My first prediction is that I believe that in 2026, the Wellesley High School girls lacrosse team will win the state championship.
Oh,
now, this is a team that has really become a force in girls lacrosse in high school over the last several years. Always seem to be making it to the, semifinals, finals. They're always making deep runs into the tournament. They still have quite a bit of talent from last year's team that once again made it to the Final Four. So I'm maybe going out on a bit of a limb here, but I just believe that this spring, this team, this group is going to get over the hump and win their first state title since what would be 2018 if they can get the job done. I think they have the pieces to do it. I believe they're going to get it done. So that's prediction number 1 for me. Prediction number 2. Yeah. Prediction number 2, onto the college level, but sticking with lacrosse and on the female side of things, I believe that the Boston College women's lacrosse team, I don't know why I'm doing hook 'em horns right now, but the Boston College women's lacrosse team will win the national title this season. Now, they did win it back in 2024. Last year they made it to the national semifinals, unfortunately losing to Northwestern. But this is a group that, again, always seems to make it to the Final Four, to the finals. And, they won it in 2021. They won it in 2024. And I think they're just going to have redemption on their mind after losing kind of a heartbreaking semifinal game a year ago. Especially last year's semifinals and finals being in their own state at Gillette Stadium. I don't know. I just got this feeling that they're gonna find a way to get back again and win it all this time. Bring that trophy back to Chestnut Hill. So, again, maybe going out on a bit of a limb there, but I got a good feeling about them in 2026 bringing home the title. And then my third prediction is going to kind of be off of a prediction I made last year. It's going to kind of be, similar to a prediction I made last year. And that's, I think the Red Sox are going to make the playoffs again. I predicted they made the playoffs again. That's actually the only thing I got right last year was the Red Sox making the playoffs, even though they lost in the wild card round. I'm not going to say they're going to win a series or anything. I'm just going to say that they're going to make the playoffs once again this season. I think that this year there still remains to be seen if they can sort of make some moves, add some more pieces. But listen, I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to be optimistic and say, like I was last year. I said they would make the playoffs last year, but no, at that time the expectations weren't that great, and look what they did. So maybe if I say it again this year, they'll pleasantly surprise us all and make it this year as well. So just to quickly recap my three predictions, I've got Wellesley High girls lacrosse winning the state title. I've got BC women's lacrosse winning the national title, and I've got the Red Sox making the playoffs all in the year 2026. So
cool.
Those are my three predictions. Knowing my luck, probably going to go for 3, but, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, Kyle, I know you, sort of leading in this episode, and even probably as we've been sitting here, been kind of stewing on your on your 3 things here coming up. So let me turn the floor over to you and tell the people what's going on in that mind of yours.
All right. So I want to talk about Stranger Things, and wait a second. Sorry, guys. I just spoiled the Souz reviews there, so just stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that's coming up. That's coming up later. That's coming up a little teaser.
Teaser.
Teaser, yeah. Woo-hoo. Stay tuned, folks.
Yes. No, sorry. I'm just kidding.
No. That was good. Leave them wanting more.
Yes. So you guys get ready? It's because I feel like that's like the biggest thing on TV right now, and it has to be talked about. So
I know.
Just wanted to prep you guys for that.
On New Year's Eve, nonetheless, people were
oh yeah.
People were glued to their televisions, not for the ball drop, but for the Stranger Things finale. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Basically, so my first prediction is, I guess you could say it's a prediction and a goal.
Yeah.
My first goal essentially would be, I'm going to recycle one that I did last year, and you guys may know what it's going to be. But I am going to, once again, try to make it to one of the Thanksgiving football games, Wellesley versus Needham, this year.
Yeah. Well, there's only one University in Thanksgiving.
That's what I meant to say. Sorry. The Thanksgiving game.
I know. I just had a hard time on that one.
I mean, I guess I could make the JV one or the freshman one, but I really wouldn't have
I guess, if you go by... Well, it's kind of funny, because if you go by the way you said it, I mean, any Massachusetts high school Thanksgiving football game goes into the category of Thanksgiving football games, but I'm pretty sure you don't really want to go to, one of the other random high school football games.
Not really.
For Thanksgiving.
I mean, I would say a close second would be Mansfield versus Foxborough,
That's right.
Which I think would be fun in its own way, but, I don't really have I don't think I know many people that are actively playing right now. So I would say, so I'm going to see if I can try to make it to the one. I keep saying one. To the Thanksgiving football game this year. So we will see what happens. That's my goal. Even if it's just for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll we'll see. I'd like to go back to, and this is one of those things I kept saying I would do, and I've honestly really wanted to go back to the Thanksgiving game, because I think it's been about 10 years since I've actually been to one.
Yeah, I think we established that. Yeah, it's been
So it's been a hot minute. been a hot decade, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever you want, however you want to put it.
Yeah, that's right.
The last time I went to a Thanksgiving game, COVID was not a thing yet.
True.
Which is weird to think about, so it's like, okay, I should probably get my ass to one of those games. So, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, the 2026 Wellesley Name Thanksgiving football game will be in Needham this year for those folks who are thinking about that game a year or a little under a year out. It will be in Needham next November. So
now I know where to get my coffee. All right. So that's the first prediction, / goal, whatever you want to call it. The second one is this is actually what I kind of like. It kind of popped in my head very last minute. But I personally would like to try out a new sport, preferably if I can, either snowshoeing or cross country skiing. I would like to try it this winter. It would be cool, or just or if I can. Or any other new sport, really, but preferably those two. I've actually talked about kind of wanting to do them because I know there's actually a place, I think, on one of the courses in Natick. I think it's like a golf course, something like that, where you can actually do that. Okay. So I'm going to try to see if I can attempt to do something like that. I don't know, cross country skiing, snowshoeing. It sounds like fun.
So basically, for your prediction itself, do you want to just kind of go with you will try a new sport in 2026?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good general statement.
Yeah.
It makes it more attainable.
Exactly, yeah. There's one other sport, if I can get it done, there's one other sport I might try too, but I'll leave that as a surprise. So we'll see. I've been kind of talking to some friends from Run Club about it, so we'll see. I do like a run club closer to where I live, so we'll see if that happens, and if it does, then I will talk more about it. So yeah,
nice.
So yeah, that's prediction / goal number 2. And number 3, I would like to. I think this is. I would also consider this a goal. I would like to go to at least one Patriots game this upcoming year because I did feel bad. I had an invite from my family from a few of my family members to actually go earlier this year and some friends, but I just couldn't get the ticket in time and it just was too expensive by the time I got it. So my other goal would be, I would like to go also to a Pats game, preferably at Foxborough. I don't think I'd really travel unless the only situation I would go, like maybe if I was like visiting family in like another state or something like that. I do have actually family members that live in Indiana, for example. So if I do end up going there and it just happens to be during the fall / winter season with the Pats game there, then that would be cool. But I would just like to go to any Pats game, at least one, just this upcoming year. So.
All right.
Yeah, or either this season or next season.
Yeah. You're probably looking, just sort of the way the schedule is right now, you're probably looking at the best chance being like, next fall, like fall 20.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I hope, hey, listen, we could, what am I trying to say? I don't know. I mean, here's some food for thought. Particularly I know, like for a lot of times for like preseason games, like the tickets are a bit cheaper like than during the regular season. So we could, again, just throwing this out there, throwing it out into the universe, on a couch talking sports Patriots preseason game trip.
Ooh,
next late summer.
All right.
When again. That's a long ways out. So,
we're just brainstorming.
But the thought popped in my head given your predictions.
All right.
Well, I have something to keep in the back of the noggin there.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Actually, I don't think I've ever been to a preseason game, so maybe we'll check it out. Maybe we will.
All right. Well, all right. So to recap your 3 predictions, if I can remember them, you want to attend the 2026 Wellesley Needham Thanksgiving game, at least part of the 2026 Wellesley Needham Thanksgiving game. You want to try a new sport at some point this year, and you want to go to a Patriots game at some point this year. So, yeah, again, all three very achievable predictions. So when we come back next December at the end of 2026, I hope that I see no reason why you can't go 3 for 3 or at least 2 for 3 on those. So, but we shall see. Again, it's a long year. We're only 2 days into it, so we got a long way to go. 363 more days. But anyway, time to now transition to the sort of second half of our episode, as we usually do, the Robbie's Football Recap, the first Robbie's Football Recap of 2026, and the first Souz Reviews of 2026, which Kyle teased just a few minutes ago. I'm going to do my Robbie's Football Recap first, because again, it's a very short Robbie's Football Recap, because after this week, we're actually only down to one team remaining in the Robbie's Football Recap, because this past week was the final week of the fantasy football season. Okay. Fortunately, my team did not get the job done. My team, for those of you who don't remember, my team lost in the semifinals, and then so in the last game this past weekend was playing in the third place game. Unfortunately, came up a little bit short in that as well. So ended up finishing in fourth place in my league. Again, very, very pleased about that. Probably one of my better finishes in that league in quite some time, so not complaining, but unfortunately, did fall 2 in a row to end the fantasy football season, but that's okay. It's on to 2026. But the better news in the Robbie's Football Recap land is that the Patriots won last weekend, demolishing the New York Jets in New Jersey, and that, coupled with the Buffalo Bills losing later that day to the Philadelphia Eagles, means that for the first time since 2019, your New England Patriots are AFC East champions, folks. The AFC East title is back in Foxborough where it belongs after 6 long years. So very, very excited about that. The Patriots will close out their regular season this coming Sunday when they host the Miami Dolphins, and then is on to the playoffs. So we still have at least 2 more weeks left of the Robbie's Football Recap, with the Patriots having at least 2 more games left, hopefully more.
Cool.
So 1 in 1 week in this edition of the Robbie's Football Recap to bring my overall mark for this year to 32 and 23. So I like how I've done this year in the Robbie's Football Recap. I've been well above 500, so hopefully get a couple more Pats wins to even further extend that mark. So
cool.
But yeah, I'm gonna now, as always, turn the microphone over to there's no real microphone, but turn figuratively the microphone over to Kyle for his first 2026 installment of the Souz Review. So take it away, my friend.
Cool. So for this week, I was actually originally going to do a quick kind of list of my favorite movies, kind of in the way that I did like my favorite horror movies last year for Halloween. So I was going to kind of do like a version of that, of just my top movies that I've watched over the year, because I feel like a lot of people like to do those lists, and just I just wanted to bring light some movies that really. But thing is, I don't have quite the list. The list isn't quite finished, and also I really wanted to talk about really like the cultural TV phenomenon that is I'm sure you guys know, it's Stranger Things, and I think it's really something that actually I really had to kind of push to the forefront, because it's a show that really just like, with all the big landscape of TV shows out there, this one really left, I think, a mark. And its fan base is huge. Like, it started, I think, with like very, it was just kind of a very experimental show at first.
I even watched some of the early seasons of Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were telling me about that. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
I actually, I haven't watched it in, I gotta be honest, I haven't watched it in quite a few years, but I did definitely, especially at the beginning of it, I definitely tuned into to some episodes. So
nice.
I actually, it's actually Stranger Things is actually something I know a little bit something about in the Souz reviews. But
no, awesome.
Continue.
I mean, no, like I'm that's right. I forgot because like I couldn't remember, but I remember you like mentioning about like watching like some certain episodes. So that's right. No, like so you could help me kind of like with your. I'm open to kind of hearing your opinion on like some of the, or at least the stuff you watched. Like And as we do the review, and I just kind of wanted to do like just a bit of an overview of like the 5 seasons and just how kind of like it started off very like I feel like as more of like an experimental show that kind of harkened back to like the 80s and like 80s sci-fi horror, kind of like a mixture of like The Thing, like Aliens, and like it just kind of had like but it kind of carved out its own identity, and its characters definitely had those sort of like 80s movie tropes, but I think they kind of added some extra layers to the characters because they weren't always exactly who you thought they were. And I thought that was kind of a cool layer. Just a cool kind of like little twist that they did. Like, because a lot of times when you watch those movies, like those characters, they just kind of stay in there, like the jock and like the bully jock kind of character, and then you have like the nerd, and they always kind of just sort of stay where they are. But then this series kind of let them sort of develop into more like interesting characters in a lot of ways. And I always thought personally like Stranger Things, I think it was a bit stronger at the beginning. Like I still personally think season 1 is my favorite, just because I like I kind of like the simplicity of it, and I liked I like when they kind of go back and forth between the town and then the Upside Down, which is kind of like this like alternate sort of world where the monsters, these monsters come from. They're called the Demogorgons, and it's So for those of you who don't know, just really quick, it's about these kids, and they start off in middle school. So in season 1, they're literally in middle school. So it's basically kind of like the Goonies was, like those types of movies where it's these kids and they kind of find themselves in this crazy situation, like this big adventure, if you will. And they find themselves entangled with like monsters and like psychic kids, and stuff like that. And it kind of starts off where the main character of the group, this group of boys, befriends actually this psychic kid he kind of stumbles upon, and or essentially who stumbles upon him, I guess. Like I have to rewatch kind of the original season because it's been a little while since I've watched it, and just from there you kind of discover there's this whole alternate world, and that there's these scary monsters kind of running about, and you kind of see how the town deals with it as the seasons go on, and there's more and more that you kind of find out about like where the monsters come from, like who's controlling the monsters, what's controlling the monsters, and like it's a pretty involved story, and I think it was definitely at its strongest, like I said, in season 1. Like I liked the mystery. I liked kind of not knowing everything right away, and I think that mystery kind of kept like the tension going as the earlier seasons went on. Like like you were wondering, like, oh, why is this kid getting possessed by some evil entity? Like that was season 2, by the way, just light spoiler. And so it was just kind of fun seeing like, oh, what's going to happen next? Like you didn't know really where the story was going, and I kind of liked that initially. And then season 4 and 5, they kind of had to introduce like an end game, and you could tell the show, I don't think they planned for having 5 seasons. Like I don't even think they knew if they were going to get past season 1, honestly, but because of its popularity and like its iconic cast, who are now all super famous and have been in a lot of other movies and shows and stuff like that. I think like they just kind of like there were times where you could tell the writing was a little weak because they were like, wait, how are we like 5 seasons in? And and recently they just had wrapped the whole series up. They had their 2-hour finale actually right on New Year's Eve too. And, I know it got a lot of mixed reviews, and, just having, watched it fresh, I thought it was good. I think they did a good job at wrapping up the characters. I think it's a very character-driven show, and I think if you just kind of watch it knowing that, knowing that it's really characters first, other things, second or third, whatever you want to call it. Like, I think it makes the experience better, because if you really focus too much on like the world building and, certain writing choices here, like, why did this character do this? Like, this is kind of dumb, or why, the way this scene played out, like, I don't know, like, this seemed very like rushed. And like, if you kind of think too much about that, I think it kind of really brings the experience down. And I think it did for a lot of viewers. And I can understand. I get it. If you're really invested in the world, and I think, towards the end, they kind of like, they definitely like, it fell apart a little bit. And I think there were definitely some very quick rushed, endings and ways they defeated monsters and stuff like that. But if you really look at it, like, based on the characters, I thought they did a good job with the characters overall. Like, I think the actors did fantastic. They're all great. You can't help but feel emotional, during their interactions. Like, there's certain ones that just, it just really brings out the feels. Like, you can tell, like, certain ones are friends and others are having conflicts with each other. And I think they did a good job with the character work, and I think they wrapped up the characters very well, and they had a really nice epilogue in the finale. But I can understand, like, and the effects were good. The effects were amazing. You could tell the budget was huge. Like, they had to, like, create all these, like, CGI monsters throughout the series, and you could tell the budget definitely got better and better as it went along. And but yeah, like, the writing wasn't always perfect. There were definitely some kind of like silly moments and moments where you're just like, wait, how did this character get from here to there? But if you don't look at that too much, like, I think the finale was pretty good. Like, it was not the best finale I've ever seen, but it did a good job, like I said, wrapping up the characters. Yeah. No, so I think, and it was a good 2 hours, and I think it definitely felt like a movie, and if you get a chance, apparently it's also in the theaters. You can actually literally go to your nearest movie theater, I think, and they will most likely have it if it's not sold out. So, no, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, did you have any comments on the show itself? Or?
No, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed, like, when I used to watch it, like, early on in the episode. Again, I kind of fell behind after the early seasons, so I don't really have a comment for the later part of the shows. But I enjoyed it early on, and I hope that everybody else enjoyed it, and definitely wild to think that's coming to it. That's come to an end. So
yeah,
that's about all I got.
No, well said.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, it's hard to imagine that the show was going on for like 10 years and 5 seasons, and it's just like, and it's a show that had tons of 80s references, so I'm sure a lot of people who are big fans of the movies that came out in the 80s, they picked up on all the references that they had.
It's wild. I will say this, it's wild to, like, as it is, I'm sure, with like a lot of TV shows that go on for years and years and years, to see like the characters sort of grow up before your eyes. Because obviously, when the show first started, like the main cast were like these not young kids, but kind of like these
like middle school, like at least
kids,
12 years old, right?
Early middle school. Now they're like full grown like adults, like and all that. So it just like I said, just wild, like, see them. Somebody put together, I saw online, like thing where like they showed like like especially for the main characters, like them at like the beginning of the show, and then them at the them like in the later years. So yeah, I mean, it just, that is the wild part of it, sort of see them grow right before your eyes over the years, and Yeah, it's good. Like one of those shows that even though it's done, sort of, it'll live on in the lexicon of shows for many, many years to come, I'm sure. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
It'll be one of those shows where we'll be watching, reruns of it, years and years down the road. I'm sure. So,
yeah, I'm sure they'll have plenty of unnecessary spin-offs. Netflix likes to milk that cash cow for all it's worth, so we're gonna get a Steve spinoff or a freaking Bob the Demogorgon spinoff, or I don't know. Like, I'm sure Netflix will have other kinds of things they'll do with Stranger Things, because they're not gonna let that brand go. They're not gonna let it go. We know that.
Well, thank you, Kyle, for that lovely review to begin things here in 2026. Definitely a strong open to the Souz reviews in the new year. So, but yeah, that is going to wrap things up for our first, like I said, episode of 2026. Again, hope everybody had a great holiday season and is having a great start to their year. And we can't wait, as always, to be back with new episodes down the line as we go through this year. If this is your first time tuning into us, please feel free to like and subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Definitely give our two sponsors a hit there, Zymer Organizing and Wes Woodson, two great folks right there. We're here on YouTube, obviously. We're also on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, so definitely feel free to check us out. We appreciate the support as we enter a new year of On a Couch Talking Sports. So, like I said, that's going to wrap things up for this episode. So, until next time, that's Kyle. I'm Robbie, and this has been your first 2026 installment of On a Couch Talking Sports. Bye, everybody.